So all the way back in early December, I said in a community post that I was going to not only remake my first guide, but it was going to be my first remake of a guide. And obviously by the title, you can tell it's Lemon Zest. And guys, I have a secret. The time for the guide has come. With Lemon Zest being the first character ever added past the release of the game, I think it's time we update his build. Anywho, no more intro shenanigans and let's get right into it. For his kit overview, we're actually going to start with his basic attack this time. His basic attack simply shoots one arrow forward, and it grants him 5% charge. Now charge or discharge gauge is linked to his charge attack, which is also called discharge, where it will continuously deplete his discharge gauge to fire arrows rapidly. In case you haven't guessed, this is his main source of damage, and a lot of his kit revolves around this, like his passive, where every 20 seconds it will mark a random nearby enemy and apply the lightning rod effect. The lightning rod effect will make it so that way whenever you hit the enemy with an attack, you will be granted 5% extra charge. But the mark only lasts 4 hits, so you can get a total of 20% extra charge this way. His special skill will allow you to target an area and then fire down arrows on that area. The skill hits up to 5 times, and if all 5 hits hit, you can get up to 27.5% charge. His ultimate allows you to select a big area, to which then Lemon Zest will fire a strike of lightning down on the ground, dealing massive damage to any enemy hit. Whenever his ultimate hits an enemy, he will get 20% charge, and one of the hit targets will get the lightning rod debuff, aka his passive mark. So while his kit does sound kinda complicated, it's very simple. Deal damage, get charge, do charge attacks, do more damage, rinse and repeat. Now we're gonna quickly cover his promotions as well. His 2-star promotion gives his charge attack a plus 25% damage increase. Overall, pretty solid first promotion. His 4-star promotion gives him a plus 24% light damage increase after a lightning rod expires on a target. This means either using up all the charge it has or after it just expires naturally. And his 5-star promotion increases his charge attack speed by 30%, but after using 100% of your discharge gauge, it will enhance your next basic attack to apply lightning rod on a target. By using 100% of the gauge, it doesn't mean using 100% in one go, it means using 100% total. So you can use 50%, then charge it back up, use that 50%, and it will enhance your next basic attack to apply the lightning rod debuff. Overall, his promotions are pretty solid. I don't think Lemon Zest necessarily really needs them, but they are definitely really nice to have. Moving on to his artifacts, his best artifact is going to be Cookie's artifact, Sunset Pursuit. Now this artifact is super strong in Lemon Zest because it complements his playstyle of being a really fast attacker. Its unique ability makes it so whenever you deal damage to enemies, you will get a stack of Bounty Hunter. At max rank, stacks of Bounty Hunter will give you 10.4% attack and elemental damage. You can have up to 4 of these, but they do last 1 second each, meaning in order to get these super powerful buffs, you do have to be continuously attacking, which Lemon Zest does. Not only does he continuously attack, he does it really fast. Despite this being his best artifact, you will mostly want to use this in modes like champion raids and rank raids because in modes like Infinite Labyrinth, you want to kill the enemies as fast as possible, not sit there and keep attacking them. But as I said, for longer drawn out modes like champion raids, this artifact will be your best in slot. Now your second artifact is going to be Jalapeño's artifact, Aim Down Spice. Now unlike the other epic ranged artifacts, Aim Down Spice grants crit rate as its default stat, meaning it does alleviate some of the stress of trying to build Lemon Zest properly, but that's not what makes it super good. Now at max rank, its unique ability makes it so that way whenever you use your basic attack, you will get plus 50% elemental damage, and after using your special or your ultimate, you will get plus 70% crit damage. Essentially meaning this is your burst artifact. Unlike the more sustained damage of Sunset Pursuit, where you can have 100% uptime for the most part by using your basic attacks, for this one, while you will have 100% uptime, it's not as potent. But it has its own niche in Infinite Labyrinth, where you need to kill enemies as fast as possible, and for something like this that has really easy activation and isn't built for sustained damage, you get his second best artifact. Now, is this artifact bad in modes like champion raids? No, it's still pretty good. The only real issue with this artifact for champion raids is that it kind of has anti-synergy with his best in slot support, who already gives a ton of crit damage. But besides that, this is all around his second best artifact. Now, the third and final epic artifact that is usable on Lemon Zest is going to be his own Piercing Light. The short version is that this is essentially the middle ground artifact, and you get a boatload of attack. Not only is the default stat attack just like Sunset Pursuit, now at max rank, the unique ability will increase your attack by 66% after using a charge up attack. This lasts for 15 seconds, meaning you have 100% uptime of this unless you just aren't charge attacking at all for whatever reason. Now, the reason why I called this the middle ground artifact is because of how the stat distribution works among these three artifacts. First off, you have Sunset Pursuit, which gives a ton of free attack and elemental damage with the condition that you are attacking constantly, making it good for the longer drawn out modes. Then you have Aim Down Spice, which is overall a really solid artifact, but it does kind of have some anti-synergy with Lemon Zest. And because of this, it's not the main champion raid artifact, but it's actually the main Infinite Labyrinth artifact because of how it works and the stats it provides. And then you have Piercing Light, which doesn't give the amount of stats that Sunset Pursuit does, but it also doesn't provide the burst damage that Aim Down Spice does. So Piercing Light is kind of like the comfort artifact. So in short, this artifact isn't bad, but it doesn't really have a place, and in my personal opinion, I do think this artifact needs something else added to it, because while it does provide ease of usage, unlike Sunset Pursuit, in the situations where you want the ease of usage, there's still better options. The only thing I will say is that when you're using Piercing Light, you can use it on every set that you would use Sunset Pursuit because your hidden powers don't change, but Aim Down Spice does make them change because it does provide different stats. But moving on to rare artifacts, he actually has 3 usable rare artifacts. You have Artistic Flourish, Warrior's Oath, and Lonesome Moonlight. Now, Artistic Flourish simply deals extra damage every 3rd basic attack. It's quite simple and it has no real requirements unlike the other two, so you could consider this as best. Warrior's Oath has the condition of having to have party members that are of the same element in order to get elemental damage, while Lonesome Moonlight requires you to lose HP in order to get attack. So for this, it's kind of just pick your poison. But before we move on, if you're enjoying so far or you found it helpful, a like and a subscribe would be very appreciated. While I recently hit my goal of hitting 3,000 subscribers before the end of January, I'm feeling a little ambitious and would love to hit 5,000 subscribers before June. I know I have a long ways to go, but I know with your guys' support, I can make it. But let's get back to the video. Moving on to weapons, like every other DPS before him, his best weapon will be his unique lightning recurve. Uniques boast a lot of good stats. For Lemon Zest, he gets a default of a lot of attack, and his tower climber bonus will increase his total damage. Not only that, but you get access to 2 hidden power slots, which makes him much easier to build. Ultimately, if you want to play Lemon Zest, this is super worth getting. Not to mention, I believe you actually get one for free in the story mode now, which is awesome. But if you're not quite there yet, the Candy Boomerang, the Baguette Staff, the Choco Spear, and the Laurel Bow can all be good replacements. Now, moving on to the equipment sets, and just like his artifacts, he technically has 2 best sets, but one of them is technically the overall better one. And that set is going to be the Suspicious Hunter set. The main reason why this set is specifically super good for Lemon Zest is because it is the basic attack buffing set. The stats that it provides on pieces is basic attack damage, crit rate, and crit damage. But the set bonus not only provides a plus 20% attack, but also plus 15% more basic attack damage after using your special skill, meaning this set is nothing short of a miracle for basic attack cookies like Lemon Zest. The thing is that this set is going to perform in modes best where you are constantly basic attacking, like champion raids, where most of your damage will come from your basic attacks, but it won't do as well in a mode like Infinite Labyrinth where your goal is to one-shot the enemies, not do damage over time with your basic attacks. Now, does that mean it's bad in Infinite Labyrinth? Absolutely not. I still use this on my Lemon Zest because I have yet to build another set for him and it works fine. Between you and me, it's probably my rolls and not the set that's the issue. But this is generally going to be his best set, as it can universally be used in pretty much everything as the best set besides Infinite Labyrinth. Now, the equipment set best used there is the Sugar Feather set. This is yet again another basic attack centric set, but it works a little bit differently. All of your basic attacks have a 20% chance to deal an extra 50% of your attack as additional damage. You also do get plus 20% elemental damage, but that's besides the point. And with the rate that Lemon Zest fires his charge attack, he can get a ton of procs of this. Overall, Suspicious Hunter will deal more damage because it's guaranteed damage, while this is somewhat RNG based. Not somewhat, it is RNG based. But for some reason, due to the stat distribution of Sugar Feather, it ends up being the best one-shot set in Infinite Labyrinth. That's probably probably somewhat due to the body wear actually having defense penetration as its stat as opposed to something else, and that can prove to be quite useful in scenarios like that. So yeah, now overall this is his second best set, but it is also his best set for the Infinite Labyrinth. Now outside of that, Lemon Zest has a few more viable sets, and I will quickly touch on them. First of all, you have both the TBD set and the Solar Knight set. Both of these provide a ton of raw damage, but under different circumstances. So first off, TBD is technically the better of the two, but it is less versatile because you do have to have an elemental tag on the enemy in order to get extra attack. So for a mode like Infinite Labyrinth, this set is kind of limited in its usage. But you know, because of the raw damage it provides, if you have yet to get a full Suspicious Hunter set, but you have a really good TBD set, you can get some light elemental scrolls in that and use that instead for champion raids or ranked raids, and it will perform quite well. Obviously not as good as Suspicious Hunter though. As for Solar Knight, this is the pretty much cheap set. It provides a bunch of light attack, light damage, and you know, just damage, but it doesn't provide it to the extent of TBD because TBD is technically a premium set. Unfortunately, you aren't really going to find much usage with Solar Knight outside of it being a temporary set. Technically, the same thing does apply to TBD, but TBD does actually do a bit of damage in champion raids. So, you know, in conclusion for TBD and Solar, for TBD, while it could have actual potential, Suspicious Hunter and Sugar Feather unfortunately outshine it in pretty much every scenario, especially because it is a little gimmicky. As for Solar Knight, while it has no requirements unlike some of the other sets, it just doesn't give as much damage as they do. Also, I'm only adding this next set because I feel like I should, but you could technically use the Mysterious Wanderer set on him. Unfortunately, I think this set is very counterproductive for Lemon Zest because it doesn't do much for any of the game modes. It's technically just bad on him in something like Infinite Labyrinth because you are required to do a bunch of hits, and in Infinite Labyrinth, Lemon Zest is a nuke. Not something like Iceman, who does a ton of attacks. And in champion raids, he has a couple other better sets like Suspicious Hunter, like TBD, like Sugar Feather. But I guess if you really wanted to, you could use Mysterious Wanderers on him. Now, if you don't have super epic equipment yet, that's fine because here are the epic equipment that you can use on him. For the headwear, you can use the Golden Rose Crown, the Bamboo Hat, or the Aurora Hood. For the bodywear, you can use the Black Gothic Dress or the Candy Cuirass. And for the legwear, you can use the Assassin Pants or the Dragon Armor. So hidden powers is where it gets kind of weird. Because the artifacts do matter a lot in Lemon Zest's build, there are quite a few hidden power combinations that I am going to talk about. But starting with a generalized hidden power, on the weapon you want to focus on light attack, and then crit rate, crit damage, or attack percent. For the headwear, you want to focus on crit rate, crit damage, attack percent, and then light damage. And then for the body and legs, you want to focus on crit rate, crit damage, or attack percent, and then defense penetration. Now, starting with the specific hidden powers. If you're running Sunset Pursuit with Suspicious Hunter and Lemon Cookie specifically, you want to have 2 light attack, 3 attack percent, 2 crit rate, and 1 crit damage. But if you're running him without Lemon Cookie, you can trade 2 of those attack percent for crit damage to supplement the fact that you aren't getting Lemon's crit damage buffs. Also, a quick little note that I forgot to add, if I ever mention Sunset Pursuit, you can also use Piercing Light in place of it as far as rolls go because they are very similar. Now, if you're using Aim Down Spice instead of Sunset Pursuit, these rolls change to 2 elemental attack, 5 attack percent, and 1 crit rate. Yeah, no crit damage at all. But if you aren't using him with Lemon Cookie, you again can trade 2 of the attack percent rolls for 2 crit damage rolls to supplement the fact that you don't have Lemon's crit damage buffs. Now, if you're using Sunset Pursuit with Sugar Feather and a Lemon Cookie, you want to use 2 light attack, 1 attack percent, 4 crit rate, and 1 crit damage. But without Lemon Cookie, the rolls simply become 4 crit rate, 4 crit damage. Now, the final hidden powers I am going to give is going to be Aim Down Spice with Sugar Feather. Now, if you're using Aim Down Spice with Sugar Feather and Lemon Cookie, your rolls become 2 light attack, 4 attack percent, and 2 crit rate. But without Lemon Cookie, you simply trade 2 of those attack percent for 2 crit damage. And the without lemon rolls is typically what you run for Infinite Labyrinth, aka 2-2-2-2. But if you're curious for Solar Knight and TBD, you can build them like you build Sugar Feather because ultimately they have kind of similar stats. Yeah, so from those hidden powers alone, you can tell that Lemon Zest isn't as simple as many would think. His best in slot support, Lemon Cookie, provides a ton of crit damage, which is enough to actually alter the rolls that you put on your equipment. and quite drastically if I would say so. Now besides lemon cookie, you can pair him up with pretty much any buffer like blackberry, like rockstar, and like peach cookie. As for which taggers you can use with him, you can use him with wizard and candy drop because wizard is the current designated light tagger and candy drop is a universal tagger. But where can you use lemon zest? Well, lemon zest is one of the cookies I would consider the all-arounder cookie. You can use him in story mode, you can use him in seasoning dungeons, you can use him to clear the tower rift, you can use him in infinite labyrinth, you can use him in champion raids, you can use him everywhere. Even though he does get outshined by sugar globe and champion raids and in some ranked raids, lemon zest is still a really solid pick. Just because she's better, that doesn't mean he's bad. But in infinite labyrinth, his ultimate is absolutely insane at clearing a wave of enemies, making him a really good pick there. Do I think lemon zest is a must build? No, I don't really think any cookie besides like candy drop is a must build. But do I think building lemon zest will make your life easier, especially because you already get him for free through the story and you get his unique free through the story? Yeah, I do think building him would be good. He's personally my favorite cookie, so I do have a little bit of bias, but you know, I can't really change that. So moving on to tips and tricks, there isn't much to say because lemon zest is fairly simple, but there are a couple things I do want to put in your head to remember. First of all, why I didn't mention this during his kit recap, he does actually do a small backwards dash during his special skill. This is both a positive and a negative because it does make it a little hard to use because you could, I don't know, run into like a laser or something, but it can also be used to, I guess, purposely or accidentally dodge an attack if your dash is down. Just mostly keep it in mind when using it so you don't accidentally, I don't know, die because of it. Also, do keep in mind your charge attack has a wind up time. It's not instant. This is why oftentimes people will get full charge before they start to do their charge attack because that extra time from not purposely, but like constantly using your charge up attack will add up. Also, keep in mind to not waste your special skill and your ultimate if you have full discharge gauge. Not only do his abilities do a lot of damage, but they help charge up his gauge really fast, and if you use them while he's at full or near full, you're just wasting them. And I guess a side note, make sure you use any pre-existing lightning rods on a boss before you use your ultimate, because your ultimate will add another lightning rod. That's just a little something to keep in mind. So while that is a lot overall, lemon zest is mechanically very simple and just very simple to pilot. There are just some things you need to remember so you don't, I don't know, do something wrong on accident and not do as well. Anywho, I am surprised the guide is this long. Oops. For a cookie as simple as lemon zest, because of a number of factors, he has very complicated builds and a lot of builds. I hope the wait was worth it, and I hope my suffering was too. Anywho, again, if you enjoyed, a like and subscribe would be very appreciated, and I will see you all next video.